You think she's loyal because she tells you what you want to hear. You think the cuddles, the sweet goodnight texts, and the pictures of the two of you smiling on Instagram mean something permanent. But I'll tell you this, loyalty isn't found in what she says when she's happy. Loyalty is tested when times are tough, when temptation strikes, or when her emotions take over. If you don't recognize the signs of hidden disloyalty, you're blindfolding yourself and walking off a cliff. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. You'll never be blindsided by a woman's lies again. If you're ready to see the truth about women and their hidden behavior, comment below. I'm ready to know everything. Disloyalty in women isn't always loud. She doesn't need to cheat physically to betray you. She can betray you emotionally, mentally, and socially long before you ever catch her with another man. By the time you realize it, she's already replaced you in her heart. If you don't see the signs early, you'll be left wondering what happened while she moves on with someone else, barely looking back. You'll be sitting in your car at midnight, replaying every conversation, asking yourself, where did I go wrong? I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen to you. I'm about to reveal the 7 hidden signs of female disloyalty. Things women won't admit, but their actions scream it loud and clear. These signs aren't guesswork. They're rooted in patterns I've seen time and again in today's relationships. If you think this is just paranoia, stay tuned. Every point I'll make today comes from real-world observations, things men like you have ignored until it was too late. Number 1. The secret social life. When she's loyal, you're part of her life. It's as simple as that. You don't have to guess where she is or wonder why she's acting secretive about her plans. But when a woman starts compartmentalizing her life, creating spaces and events where you're either excluded or barely acknowledged, that's not privacy, that's strategy. She's keeping you at arm's length because she's already building a life where you're no longer necessary. And if you don't spot it early, you'll find out too late that she was already gone while you were still holding on. This isn't about her going out with friends occasionally. Every woman needs time to breathe and do her own thing. That's normal. But when those outings become mysterious, when she suddenly starts going out more frequently without giving you the details she used to share, your gut should be sounding the alarm. Modern women know exactly how to navigate the blurred lines of loyalty. It's not always about physical cheating. Sometimes it's emotional cheating hidden behind a smile and an excuse. She's out there dressed to the nines, receiving attention, but not from you. And what hurts the most is knowing she didn't invite you into that part of her life because she didn't want you to see who she's becoming. She might say, it's just a girls' night, and you'll think you're being respectful by not questioning her. But understand this, if she respects you, she'll never make you feel like you need to question her in the first place. Watch her patterns. Women are creatures of habit, but when their behavior changes, there's always a reason. Maybe she's more active on Instagram, posting selfies with new people you've never heard of. Maybe she's tagging locations without mentioning who she's with. That's no accident. Social media today is a weapon, and she knows how to wield it. She knows exactly how to maintain the image of the happy girlfriend while quietly pulling away. Think about this. Has she ever invited you to her girls-only hangouts before? Or are those nights off-limits by default? A woman who's loyal doesn't need to hide parts of her life. If she's truly loyal, her social life will naturally include you because you're part of her world, not just an option, not just someone she tolerates. But if she's deliberately keeping you in the dark, it's not because she values privacy, it's because she's testing freedom. And freedom without boundaries leads to betrayal. Pay attention to the "he's just a friend" narrative. Modern women have mastered this excuse. She'll introduce you to him as if that's supposed to make you feel better, but deep down, you'll sense something's off. You'll see the way her face lights up when she gets a text from him, the way she checks her phone more frequently when he's around, the way she suddenly starts mentioning him in conversations. "Oh, we were just talking about work." That's how it starts. But what you don't see are the late-night conversations, the private jokes, and the emotional bond they're building behind your back. She's constructing an escape route, and you're not supposed to know until she's already gone. A loyal woman doesn't need backup plans. If she's with you, you're her plan. She won't be testing her market value by surrounding herself with guy friends who subtly boost her ego. She won't be giving mixed signals by laughing at their jokes a little too hard or leaning in just a little too close. Women are emotional creatures, and they thrive on validation. But if the validation she's seeking isn't coming from you, then who's it coming from? And more importantly, why does she need it? It hurts, doesn't it? To think that while you're at home thinking about her, she's out there building memories you'll never be part of. To know that the woman you care about is creating a version of herself that you don't recognize, a version that's more carefree, more flirtatious, and more open to possibilities you're not included in. If she's doing this now, imagine what she'll be capable of when the relationship hits a rough patch. Disloyalty doesn't start with a kiss or an affair. It starts with secrets. And if you ignore those secrets, you're giving her permission to keep hiding more. Ask yourself this: does she light up when she talks about her plans with you? Or does she dodge the topic altogether? Does she come back from these nights out looking fulfilled and distant at the same time? These are the moments where loyalty is tested, not in the big dramatic betrayals, but in the quiet, subtle changes. Don't be the man who ignores them. Don't be the man who wakes up one day and realizes she's emotionally gone because you failed to see the signs. The secret social life is where her disloyalty starts. But once it starts, it doesn't stop. Number 2, guarding her digital world. In today's world, a woman's phone is her second life. It's not just a device, it's a diary, a confession booth, and a vault of secrets. If she's suddenly guarding it like it holds the nuclear codes, you better believe something's hidden in there. And don't let her convince you that you're being insecure just because you notice the shift. Modern disloyalty begins with secrecy, and secrecy thrives in the digital world. Think about how things were at the beginning of the relationship. She probably didn't care if you saw her notifications or answered a call on her phone. But now she flips her screen down the moment you walk into the room. She takes her phone with her to the bathroom, and you're lucky if you even get a glimpse of who she's texting. These aren't innocent changes. They're signs of guilt. She'll say it's about privacy, but privacy in a relationship is about boundaries, not walls. If she's building walls, it's because she doesn't want you to see who's on the other side. Women don't guard their phones unless they have something to hide, and that's the brutal truth most men miss. She might not be physically cheating yet, but emotional cheating can be just as destructive. Late-night texts, secret Snapchats, and flirty messages that disappear after 24 hours. This is how modern women keep their options open without technically doing anything wrong. Here's what most men don't understand. Women are masters of emotional attachment. She doesn't need to sleep with another man to betray you. If she's sharing her thoughts, dreams, and vulnerabilities with someone else through her phone, she's already halfway out of the relationship. You'll notice it in the way she smiles at her phone, but barely smiles at you. You'll see it when she suddenly becomes overly protective of her device, acting like you're invading her personal space just for being curious. Modern technology has made cheating easier than ever. Dating apps, secret messaging apps, and disappearing message features are designed to keep you in the dark. She can have entire conversations that you'll never know about, and by the time you figure it out, she'll already have built a connection with someone else. Don't wait for the physical betrayal to confirm your suspicions. The digital betrayal is just as real. And let's be honest, if she's deleting messages, it's not because they're irrelevant, it's because they're incriminating. Women know exactly what they're doing when they clear their chat histories or accidentally leave out details. If she's making sure you can't see her phone, it's because she knows what's on it would hurt you. And if she knows it would hurt you, that's already proof of disloyalty. The emotional damage starts when you begin questioning yourself. Maybe I'm overreacting, you think, but you're not. Your instincts are screaming at you for a reason. Women are intuitive, but so are men when they're willing to listen to their gut. If your gut is telling you something's off, it's probably right. Look at how she reacts when you bring it up. If she becomes defensive or flips the blame onto you, that's a red flag. A woman who has nothing to hide won't mind addressing your concerns, but a woman who's hiding something will make you feel like the problem for even asking. This is how gaslighting works. She'll make you doubt your own reality until you start apologizing for noticing the signs. Don't fall for it. Protect yourself. If her phone has become her fortress, don't wait for it to turn into her escape route. Confront the issue head-on and don't let her manipulate you into backing down. The truth is, loyalty doesn't need to hide behind a locked screen. Number 3, emotional drift. There's a pain every man feels when he looks into the eyes of the woman he loves and realizes she's not really there anymore. She's physically sitting across from you, smiling faintly, scrolling through her phone, nodding along to your stories. But you can feel it. That connection, that spark, the warmth that used to be there is gone. And as much as you try to ignore it, it gnaws at your soul. Emotional drift is slow, subtle, and cruel. It's like standing in quicksand. By the time you realize you're sinking, you're already halfway buried. Women don't detach emotionally all at once. They'll give you hints, small, almost invisible changes that you won't notice unless you're paying attention. You used to talk for hours, didn't you, about your dreams, your ambitions, your fears. Now, your conversations are reduced to practical logistics. What time will you be home? Or, did you pick up groceries? She used to ask you questions about your day because she genuinely cared about your answers. Now she barely listens, responding with, "That's nice," or "uh-huh," while her mind drifts elsewhere. If you're being honest with yourself, you've already noticed these things. You've already felt the sting of her emotional distance. The tragedy of emotional drift is that most men blame themselves. You start thinking, maybe I'm boring her, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe if I just try harder, she'll come back to me. But the truth is, her emotional withdrawal has little to do with you and everything to do with her shifting priorities. Women are emotional creatures, and when their emotions pull them in a new direction, it's almost impossible to reel them back. She might not even be aware of how far she's drifted. All she knows is that the excitement she once felt around you has faded, and now she's seeking it elsewhere. You'll notice her pulling away in the smallest moments. When you touch her, she doesn't lean into you the way she used to. When you make a joke, she doesn't laugh as hard, or at all. When you're in bed together, intimacy feels like a routine instead of an expression of love. Don't ignore these signs. The worst thing you can do is pretend everything's fine. Emotional drift doesn't correct itself. It's like a wound that festers if left untreated. And the more you ignore it, the deeper it cuts. Some men think they can fix this by being overly accommodating. You'll start doing more for her, thinking if you make her life easier, she'll remember why she loved you. But let me be brutally honest. If she's already checked out emotionally, your acts of kindness won't bring her back. In fact, they might push her further away because she'll see your efforts as desperation. Women don't respect desperation, they respect strength. If you want to salvage what's left of the relationship, you need to confront the issue head-on. Ask her why she's distant. Tell her you've noticed the change. But be prepared, because once a woman's heart has drifted, getting her back is like trying to grab smoke with your hands. The real danger of emotional drift isn't just that she's pulling away, it's that she might be investing her emotional energy elsewhere. Maybe she's confiding in a coworker, maybe she's reconnecting with an ex on social media, or maybe she's building a new emotional connection with someone you've never met. Women don't need to cheat physically to betray you. If she's sharing her deepest thoughts, fears, and dreams with another man, that's emotional infidelity. And in many cases, it's worse than physical cheating because it signals that she's already moved on in her mind. What makes this even more painful is that she'll act like everything's normal on the surface. She'll still say, "I love you" out of habit. She'll still kiss you goodnight. But those gestures will feel empty, and you'll lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering when things changed and how you missed the signs. Don't wait until you're lying in bed alone to figure it out. If she's drifting, you need to act now. Have the hard conversations, set boundaries, and if she's unwilling to meet you halfway, you need to be strong enough to let her go. This isn't about being heartless or cold, it's about protecting yourself. Emotional drift doesn't just hurt your relationship, it hurts your self-esteem, your confidence, your sense of masculinity. If you let her emotional withdrawal consume you, you'll start questioning your worth as a man. Don't give her that power. If she's gone, let her go. But if there's still a chance to salvage the connection, you need to take control. Be the man she fell in love with, not the man who's begging her to stay. Number 4, flirting as harmless fun. Flirting is never harmless. Let me say that again for the men in the back. Flirting is never harmless. When a woman crosses the line, even subtly, she knows exactly what she's doing. Women are not oblivious to the signals they send. They know the power of a smile, a touch, or a lingering glance. And when she's doing this in front of you or behind your back, it's not just disrespectful. It's a warning sign that her loyalty is slipping. You've probably heard her say, "Relax, it's just playful." But playful for who? For you, it's a stab in the chest, a slow erosion of trust. For her, it's a way to test boundaries and see how much she can get away with before you react. If you don't call her out on it, she'll interpret your silence as permission to keep pushing the limits. And let me tell you, once a woman starts seeking attention from other men, it's only a matter of time before that attention turns into something more. Women crave validation. It's wired into their psychology. But when she starts seeking that validation outside of the relationship, you're no longer the center of her world. Maybe it starts with innocent banter with a male coworker. She laughs at his jokes, compliments his shirt, and touches his arm, playfully. You convince yourself it's nothing because you don't want to seem controlling. But behind that banter is a deeper need for attention, a need that you're no longer fulfilling, or at least that's what she believes. You'll notice the shift in her behavior. She'll start dressing up more when she's not with you. She'll spend extra time on her makeup before going to grab coffee with a friend. And when she comes home, she'll act like it's no big deal. But deep down, you'll know. You'll see it in the way she glows after receiving compliments from other men. You'll feel it in the way she talks about them, subtly comparing their charm to yours. Don't ignore this. A loyal woman doesn't need external validation because she's fulfilled within the relationship. If she's constantly fishing for compliments, attention, or affection from other men, it's because she's testing the waters. She's seeing how many options she has, how desirable she is, and whether or not she could upgrade if she wanted to. Women are hypergamous by nature. They're always subconsciously assessing their options, but when she starts doing it openly, it's a sign that she's losing interest in you. The worst part about this kind of disloyalty is that she'll make you feel like the bad guy for bringing it up. "Why are you so insecure?" she'll ask, as if your instincts aren't valid. But don't let her gaslight you into silence. If her behavior makes you uncomfortable, you have every right to address it. Set boundaries and make it clear that you won't tolerate disrespect. If she values the relationship, she'll respect those boundaries. But if she continues to flirt, downplay your concerns, and seek attention from other men, it's time to walk away. Some men think they can win her back by being more romantic, more attentive, or more accommodating. But let me be brutally honest. If she's already looking for validation elsewhere, no amount of flowers or candlelit dinners will change that. Women don't come back to men who chase them. They come back to men who stand their ground. If she sees that you're willing to let her go rather than tolerate her disrespect, she'll either correct her behavior or reveal her true intentions. Flirting isn't harmless. It's a gateway to disloyalty. And if you don't address it now, you'll be dealing with the consequences later, wondering how you let things get so out of control. Don't wait for her to cross the line completely. Recognize the signs, confront the behavior, and protect your self-respect. If she's not willing to stay loyal, she doesn't deserve you. Number 5. Distance in future plans. When a woman sees a future with you, you'll know it. She'll talk about it, dream about it, plan for it with you in the center of that vision. But when she's pulling away, she won't always tell you directly. Women don't like confrontation when they're unsure about how they feel. Instead, they'll start to quietly withdraw from future plans, hoping you'll either not notice or take the hint and let things fade on their own. This is what I call the slow fade out, and it's devastating because it's so subtle that many men don't realize what's happening until it's too late. At the beginning of the relationship, she was probably the one initiating plans. She'd say things like, "Let's go to that new restaurant next weekend," or "What if we took a trip this summer?" Back then, she was fully invested. She saw potential. But now, when you bring up future plans, she either dodges the conversation or gives vague, non-committal responses like, "Let's see," or "I'm not sure what my schedule will be." Don't brush this off. That hesitation is a signal that her feelings have shifted. Women are emotional decision makers. When she's excited about a relationship, she wants to envision a future with you because that future is tied to her emotions in the present. But when those emotions start to fade, the future becomes uncertain, and she'll do everything she can to avoid talking about it. The worst part is, she won't tell you outright that she's unsure about you. She'll string you along because at that moment, you're still convenient. You're still providing comfort, security, and stability. But once she finds something or someone that excites her again, she'll be gone, and you'll be left wondering when things fell apart. Let's talk about why this happens. Women crave emotional stimulation, and in modern relationships, that stimulation often fades when things become too routine or predictable. This isn't your fault as a man. Relationships naturally settle into routines, but women, driven by their need for emotional highs, often interpret stability as boredom. When she starts distancing herself from future plans, it's a sign that she's seeking that spark elsewhere. Maybe she's not actively pursuing someone new yet, but emotionally, she's open to the idea. She's leaving space for possibilities that don't include you. And don't let her excuse it as being busy or just needing some time to think. Those are classic deflection tactics women use when they don't want to confront their own feelings or hurt yours. If she was genuinely busy, she'd still make time to discuss the things that matter to both of you. When a woman is invested in a man, she doesn't leave him in the dark about her plans. But when she's checked out, she'll start canceling dates last minute, rescheduling important conversations, and avoiding long-term commitments altogether. She's creating distance, not just physically, but emotionally. You'll notice this distance in the way she reacts when you try to plan something meaningful. Suggest a weekend getaway, and she'll respond with a lukewarm, maybe. Talk about meeting her family or introducing her to yours, and she'll suddenly change the subject or come up with an excuse about why it's not the right time. These aren't coincidences, they're signs of detachment. The more she avoids planning a future with you, the more she's mentally preparing to move on. Here's the harsh truth. If she can't see a future with you, she's already imagining one without you. Women don't like to feel trapped. They value the idea of options. And when a woman feels that she's outgrown the relationship, she'll start to fantasize about what life would be like if she was single again. That's why she won't commit to future plans, because in her mind, those plans might not include you. But don't make the mistake most men make by doubling down on romantic gestures, hoping to reignite her excitement. If she's already pulling away, showering her with gifts or surprises won't change how she feels. In fact, it might push her further away because she'll see your efforts as a desperate attempt to hold on. Women don't respond to desperation, they respond to strength. If she's distancing herself from future plans, confront it directly. Ask her what's changed, but be prepared for the possibility that she won't give you a straight answer. Women rarely admit when they're emotionally checking out. They'll either downplay it or turn the conversation around, making you feel like you're overthinking things. Don't let her gaslight you. If your gut is telling you that something's off, trust it. Women are experts at hiding their true intentions until they've secured a better option. Don't be the man who's left blindsided because you ignored the signs. If she's avoiding future plans, it's time to evaluate whether this relationship is worth fighting for, or if you're better off walking away with your dignity intact. Number 6. Gossiping about you. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and when a woman starts gossiping about you behind your back, she's chipping away at that foundation brick by brick. This isn't just about her venting to her friends about minor annoyances. Every couple has disagreements, and sharing frustrations occasionally is normal. But when a woman crosses the line into constant complaining, criticizing, or mocking you in front of others, it's a sign that she no longer respects you, and once respect is gone, loyalty quickly follows. Women communicate differently than men. When men have an issue, they confront it head-on or let it go. Women, on the other hand, often process their feelings by talking them out with friends or family. But there's a difference between seeking advice and undermining your character. If she's telling her friends about your flaws, your mistakes, or your personal struggles, she's not just venting, she's tarnishing your reputation. And the worst part is, you won't know it's happening until it's too late. Imagine this. You're at a gathering with mutual friends, and someone makes a joke about something deeply personal, something only she should know. Your stomach drops because you realize she's been sharing details of your private life. That betrayal cuts deep because you trusted her to protect your dignity, not expose your weaknesses for others to laugh at. A loyal woman defends her man in public, even when they're going through tough times. If she's quick to tear you down or make you the punchline of a joke, she's already checked out emotionally. The danger of gossiping goes beyond embarrassment. When a woman speaks negatively about you to others, she's creating a narrative in her mind that justifies her emotional detachment. She's building a case against you, whether consciously or subconsciously, so that when she leaves, she can tell herself and everyone else that she had good reasons to do so. This is how women emotionally prepare for a breakup. They start by distancing themselves mentally, then they share their grievances with others, and finally, they convince themselves that they deserve better. You might think, it's just talk. How bad could it be? But words have power, and the more she speaks negatively about you, the more those words shape her perception of the relationship. If she's constantly telling her friends that you're lazy, unambitious, or emotionally unavailable, she'll start to believe it, even if it's not entirely true. And once she believes it, she'll start acting on it, distancing herself further, seeking validation elsewhere, and eventually walking away. Women don't just wake up one day and decide to leave. It's a gradual process, and gossiping is a key part of that process. The more she talks about your flaws, the less she'll see your strengths. The more she complains about what's wrong, the less she'll appreciate what's right. Don't underestimate how damaging this can be. If she's gossiping about you, it's a sign that she no longer values the relationship enough to protect its integrity. Confronting her about this behavior can be tricky because she'll likely deny it or downplay it as harmless. She might say, "I was just venting," or "You're overreacting." But don't let her dismiss your feelings. Make it clear that respect is non-negotiable. A woman who truly values the relationship will understand the importance of keeping private matters private. If she continues to gossip despite your concerns, it's a sign that she's not invested in making the relationship work. Don't be afraid to walk away if you feel disrespected. Respect and loyalty go hand in hand, and without them, you're fighting a losing battle. A woman who loves you will protect your image, not destroy it. If she's willing to tarnish your reputation, she's already planning her exit. And if she's already planning her exit, the best thing you can do is let her go before she destroys your self-worth. Number 7. Defensive games. When a woman is loyal, she doesn't need to hide. She doesn't feel the need to defend herself when you bring up concerns because she knows her conscience is clean. But when she's guilty, when she knows she's been crossing boundaries or entertaining disloyal thoughts, her natural reaction is to go on the defensive. This is where things get dangerous, because she won't just defend herself. She'll flip the script and make you the villain. Suddenly, your concern becomes paranoia, your instincts become insecurity, and your attempts to have a real conversation become accusations that you're controlling. Let's get one thing straight. If you're noticing something off, if your gut is telling you that she's hiding something, you're not overreacting. Men have instincts for a reason, but modern relationships have conditioned many men to ignore them. You've been told that questioning her behavior makes you possessive or insecure, but that's a lie designed to keep you blind. If she's loyal, she'll address your concerns with empathy and understanding. But if she's disloyal, she'll shut you down by making you question your sanity. This tactic is called gaslighting, and it's one of the most destructive tools women use to protect their secrets. You'll notice it in the way she reacts when you ask simple questions. "Who were you texting?" Might seem like a harmless question, but if she's hiding something, she'll explode with defensiveness. "Why do you always think I'm doing something wrong?" She'll snap, as if your question was an accusation. Or she'll flip the blame onto you. "Maybe I wouldn't have to hide things if you weren't so paranoid all the time." These aren't innocent reactions, they're calculated moves to make you back off. She knows that if she can make you feel guilty for asking, you'll stop asking altogether. And once you stop asking, she has the freedom to do whatever she wants without fear of being confronted. A woman who's loyal doesn't need to play these games. She doesn't need to make you feel small for having concerns, because she values the relationship enough to be transparent. But when a woman starts playing defensive games, it's because she's protecting something or someone you don't know about. Maybe it's a coworker she's been texting late at night. Maybe it's an ex she's reconnected with on social media. Or maybe it's just the thrill of keeping secrets that she doesn't want to give up. Whatever it is, her defensiveness is the mask that hides her guilt. And it doesn't stop with defensiveness. Once she realizes that making you feel guilty works, she'll take it a step further. She'll accuse you of being the problem. "Why can't you just trust me?" she'll say, as if trust is something you owe her unconditionally, even when her behavior raises red flags. Trust isn't a free pass. It's earned through consistent actions. If her actions are inconsistent, you have every right to question them. Don't let her gaslight you into thinking otherwise. The more you allow her to play defensive games, the more power she gains over the relationship. You'll start doubting yourself, second-guessing your instincts, and walking on eggshells just to avoid another argument. And that's exactly what she wants. She wants you to be so afraid of being labeled insecure or controlling that you stop paying attention to the signs. But here's the truth: ignoring the signs doesn't make them disappear. It just gives her more room to continue whatever she's hiding. Pay attention to the way she deflects when you bring up specific concerns. If you ask her about a guy she's been texting and she responds by accusing you of being jealous, she's not addressing the issue, she's avoiding it. A woman who has nothing to hide will answer your questions directly. She won't need to deflect or turn the conversation around. But a woman who's hiding something will do everything in her power to keep you in the dark. Another tactic she'll use is the victim card. She'll start crying, telling you how hurt she is that you don't trust her, and before you know it, you're the one apologizing. You'll feel terrible for making her upset, and she'll use that guilt to manipulate you into dropping the subject. But here's the brutal truth: her tears aren't always a sign of vulnerability. Sometimes they're a weapon. Women know that when they cry, men tend to back off. Don't fall for it. If her tears are genuine, she'll be willing to have an honest conversation after she's calmed down. But if her tears are a tactic, you'll notice that once the conversation shifts away from the topic, she quickly recovers. This is how emotional manipulation works. She'll make you feel like you're the problem, like your concerns are unfounded, and like you're damaging the relationship by not trusting her. But let me be clear: trust isn't blind. If her actions have given you a reason to question her loyalty, you're not damaging the relationship. She is. Don't let her convince you otherwise. You'll also notice that her defensiveness increases over time. At first, it might be subtle. She'll avoid certain questions or change the subject when you bring up something she doesn't want to discuss. But as her guilt grows, so does her need to protect her secrets. She'll become more aggressive, more combative, and more emotionally manipulative. She'll accuse you of being controlling, paranoid, or insecure. She'll say you're suffocating her and that she needs space. But here's the kicker: if she's asking for space, it's because she's already emotionally distancing herself from you. The moment she starts using defensiveness as a weapon, the relationship is on shaky ground. Loyalty doesn't need defense mechanisms. Loyalty is open, honest, and transparent. If she's loyal, she'll welcome your concerns because she knows they come from a place of love and protection. But if she's disloyal, she'll see your concerns as a threat to her freedom to do as she pleases. Don't let her weaponize your emotions against you. If she's constantly on the defensive, it's time to take a step back and evaluate what's really going on. A loyal woman won't make you feel like you're fighting a battle just to get the truth. But a disloyal woman will do everything in her power to keep you from uncovering it. Be the man who trusts his instincts. Be the man who refuses to be gaslighted. And if she continues to play defensive games, be the man who walks away with his dignity intact. Because at the end of the day, a woman who values you will never make you feel like you're the enemy for wanting honesty. Disloyalty doesn't always come with a dramatic exit. Most of the time, it's slow, subtle, and masked as normal behavior. But once you recognize these signs, you'll never be fooled again. If this video woke something inside you, comment, "I trust my gut," and take action. Subscribe to the channel and help YouTube spread this message to as many men as possible. Don't let another man suffer in silence while the signs were right in front of him. Your support ensures more men get the truth they deserve.